front end core, but full stack. Yeah.
So I do want you to tell us, how did you transition into your tech role?
Funny story. I don't think I always wanted to do tech.
Oh,
No, I always wanted to do tech,
okay.
but it's been a journey. I picked it up and I learned it.
Yeah,
So I think one thing that is very important is when you have an opportunity to grow, take it. And I was able to understand state management through Angular.
that's nice.
So when I went back to React
Yeah,
again for the second time,
yeah.
I because of the knowledge I had from Angular,
You
I was able to understand React better.
got it. Yeah, of course. Yeah,
I think a lot of people, because when you come from a structured environment, people have done the hard work for you. They've filtered everything
absolutely.
and they're telling you what you need to know now. It's
Yeah,
different from when you had to figure things out by
yeah.
yourself. You have a track record. People can go back and see this is where this person started from. Try and have a portfolio of personal projects. I'm not saying calculator app is not, we're
No.
past that stage.
Yeah, of
Maybe in
course.
2017, 2018, calculator app could fly.
Yeah. Not now.
It's not now.
Not now.
Now that ChatGPT can build a calculator
Of
app
course,
for
why
you.
not?
So another thing I'm going to say is learn how to leverage on using
Of
AI
course, I was gonna talk about
because
that. I made a post on LinkedIn and I did say anything worth doing is worth. What would you say, Amy? All right, let me put this to you. Anything worth, I know the usual saying, anything worth doing is worth completed.
it's worth doing well.
That's beautiful. I mean, that's great,
It's
right?
worth doing well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what people say. That's what everyone says. I say that as well. But again, we got everything worth doing is worth training for. So,
I agree.
yeah, I mean, if you want to do something well, especially I talk to team leads, I'm a team lead myself, and I say, hey, if you want your team to do exceptional well, you got to train them, right? And put
Yeah.
structures in place to get them to be at the level you envision for them to be at, and then you can
Yeah.
demand a certain level of excellence,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that's really important. So let's talk about how to stand out with so many candidates. Have you got any tips for us? All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the channel. I have a guest with me today. I have the pleasure of speaking with Amy, a senior front-end developer. I'm gonna let her introduce herself, and it's gonna be an exciting one. She's gonna share with us her journey, insights, and tips for succeeding in the tech world. So, Amy, thank you for joining us today. I totally appreciate it. Could you please start by telling us a little bit about yourself and your current role?
Okay. Hello everyone. My name is Amy Abafor. Ami is short for Amala Chuku. Abafor. I'm Igbo. I'm a front end engineer. I have been in the tech space for since 2017. I've worked different roles in the tech industry, from graphics to UI UX, and now I'm a core front end engineer. And yeah, I've been lucky, should I say lucky, to work on several projects that cut across different industries in tech. I've worked in projects that had to do with education, transportation, telecommunications, blockchain, fintech, and over the years, I've just worked on several projects and yeah, front end core, but full stack. Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing. So, I know the audience right now, they want to hear certain things. They want to know about this. So, I do want you to tell us, how did you transition into your tech role?
Okay. Funny story. I don't think I always wanted to do tech.
Oh,
No, I always wanted to do tech,
okay.
but I didn't always want to do programming. So like
Yeah.
when you're growing up, you hear about like STEM, So science, I studied electronic engineering, so I've always been science inclined. I've also always been computer inclined. I was lucky to um, have a computer when I was growing up, and some of my favorite things were the graphic softwares. I remember using Corel Draw
Oh yeah.
as far back as when I was in primary school,
Yeah.
because I think it used to come with the desktops, the Microsoft desktops, and I think
Oh
it
yeah.
used to come with Corel Draw, and I used to just play with it and all that. So when I went to university, I didn't really plan to become a software engineer, even though I studied electronic engineering. Fun fact, my programming course was the only course I ever had a carryover in, and it was a practical course. So the fun thing is, I had textbooks, but let's say by the time I was in university, I didn't have a computer to practice. So sometimes when you read something, if you don't practice it, when you now get to see it for the first time on the computer, you just be thinking like, what is this? You know, when you study, it's very good to
Yeah.
practice, especially when you're learning programming. So I did not really
Absolutely.
have that.
Yeah.
So it really affected my relationship with programming, and I
Okay.
didn't really want to do that. I think I wanted to work in the oil and gas industry.
Oh yeah.
Because luckily for me, I did my IT in an oil company. I wrote the exams, I got called, and I just was able to sink in into the processes, and I liked the fact that they gave me some leadership roles as well. So I thought that's what I was going to go into. But after school, and things were not working the way I thought it would work,
Oh yeah.
then um I think my brother was learning programming already, and he
Oh
just advised me. And before my brother, actually,
yeah.
some of my friends in school were learning programming. That was when this platform um newly came out, Free Code Camp. I don't know
Oh
if you've heard about
yeah.
it.
Of course. Yeah.
And this is 2017. I'm talking about
Yeah.
2016.
Oh yeah.
Yes, 2016. So my friends were already using Free Code Camp, and
Yeah.
I was like, okay, what are you guys doing? Let me learn. So that's where I got my first programming knowledge. And recently, I went back. I saw that they've updated their curriculum, but they didn't have as much as they have now. And I think the requirements for becoming a software engineer was a lot less than it is right now. Right now, it's like so complicated
Oh yeah.
compared to like 2016, 2017.
Yeah.
Then if you just knew basic JavaScript, it was actually easy because there was a lot of gap in the market.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
that's where I learned. And then there was a firm that was just coming up in Enugu, and I started to intern with them
Well, that's nice.
early
Okay.
2017.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's where I've worked since. I started with them as an intern. In fact, when I started as an intern, I wanted to still run away from programming because I saw that there was space for graphics.
Oh
So I
yeah.
still ran away, and I focused on graphics. But besides graphics, I was also doing WordPress
All right.
and some other things,
Yeah.
you know. But finally, I got back into programming. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
That's
been a journey.
yeah. It's been a journey. Yeah.
It's been a journey.
Absolutely
Yeah.
love it. Well, 2017. Wow. I actually started I had my first internship 2018 and started
Okay.
writing
What
real.
internship was that?
It was well, this company. It was like my IT then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it was 2018. And I was, the web developer or one of the web developers because. They had different departments. Wow, that's really good. Really good. How long did it actually take you to, get your first job in your tech role?
So the thing is that, like I said earlier, I have been working with the same company. It's we're not a product company.
Okay.
So product companies are companies like Paystack.
Yeah.
they have like a product, you know them as haystacks, so people that
Absolutely.
work. Yeah. So where I work, we build products for ourselves and we
Yeah.
build for people.
Okay.
So I actually have been working with them since 2017, and I've worked on several of their projects, starting from graphics and now moving into UI UX and now front end development. So besides that, I've worked maybe contracts
Uh-huh.
on with several other companies, but majorly I was just lucky because the tech space was just starting out and they were just starting out as well,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah, they're just. I think when I joined them, we're not even up to eight.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I want to say 10, but 10 is far. But we're not up to eight,
Okay.
And I basically learned with them, and I grew with them.
That
So
is
like,
important. That's really cool there. All
yeah,
right.
yeah,
Wow. Wait, you are still with them, right?
yeah. I'm still with
You are amazing. That is,
them.
you are sort of like the perfect person to have on this call. Great. Since 2017. I love it. All right.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
actually.
All right. I do want you to now, I mean, because a lot of people out there, watching this right now, they are gaining a lot, and you are sort of like a role model. I mean, based on what you're gonna say here, they're gonna get inspiration, motivation. They're gonna receive some ideas that's gonna guide their path, going forward and stuff like that. And that's why I really like what we're doing right now. I want to talk a little bit about career development. So, could you describe your journey, in a little bit?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So it's been a journey because when I started out with
Hmm.
graphics, I think graphics was good. I think when I learned the fundamentals, um, I was doing branding, I was doing flyers, I was doing roll up banners and stuff like that. But it got to a certain point when we started taking on more interesting projects. So one thing I like about where I work, and I think is one of the reasons why I've been with them for a long time, is
Hmm.
that they have the capacity to push you. Do you understand?
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
And and make you grow. So if they are pushing you, it's up to you to choose whether you want to grow or not. So
absolutely.
when I was doing graphics, there was the opportunity to, and when we started taking on school portals, there was the opportunity to say, okay, we need someone to design these school portals, right? They needed someone to do the UI,
Yeah.
and because I already have that fundamental
Okay.
knowledge.
Yeah.
I know that my biggest issue was learning to make it responsive, so I
Oh,
had to
yeah.
learn Bootstrap. So there was kind of like a
Oh, yeah.
challenge.
Okay.
There was a challenge
Yeah.
that my boss threw out back then, and it was like, okay, he threw it to some people that were not programmers
Yeah.
so that we can strengthen our hands and see whether we can pick up the slack. And I was able to learn it, and because I always like the idea of doing something new. I think at some point I got bored from doing graphics because
Oh,
I
yeah.
felt like I already did everything. I didn't feel like there was anything new and challenging for me again. So um I picked it up and I learned it.
Yeah.
So I think one thing that is very important is when you have an opportunity to grow, take it,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
So that's how I started doing.
And you had an interesting boss.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think one of the things about like where I work, I think about 50% of the people I started with still work in the same company,
Oh,
even
wow.
if some of them have other contracts and other places. It's
That's
because of
remarkable.
that um, community building, that company culture, and
Yeah.
that ability to grow.
Yeah.
I think it's very important. And when you see
Yeah.
the opportunity, take it. And if you don't see, ask for it.
Absolutely.
You
Yeah.
understand? You have to ask for it, because I got bored. I really got bored of doing graphics, and I had to ask. So when we're doing the portals, I took the opportunity. I strengthened my hands in HTML and CSS. At some point in my office, if anybody had any issue with HTML or CSS, especially CSS, I was the go-to person, because I
Yeah.
strengthened my hand on it. But then
Mhm.
moving on to JavaScript, I think there are some things that were just like not so easy for me to grasp. And one thing I didn't like about the programming culture
Oh yeah.
was I didn't like when people use words that sound big.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I always prefer, tell me this, explain this thing to me like a 5-year-old. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of people were obsessed with using big terms, and
Yeah. Absolutely.
things like that can just affect the way you learn, and you may not want to learn again. That's why some
Yeah.
these days people advocate to teach other people in language that they understand, even if
Yeah.
it's in their local language.
Absolutely.
But when you use
Absolutely.
these big words, I mean, tell people what they need to hear
Yeah.
and move on,
Yeah.
not
Of
struggling.
course.
So that was
Yeah.
one of my issues learning JavaScript. But after a while, I kept challenging myself, and I did. Then at some point, we needed to start building more final products. So
Hmm.
I moved into UI UX, because UI UX is like supporting, should support
Yeah.
front end
Front end.
design,
Yeah.
basically. Yes, when you
Yeah.
do something, you have to learn how to design to make it fine.
Yeah.
And I did that for a while,
Okay.
but I had the opportunity to learn React. There was a
Okay.
project they were building, and they wanted to expand, and they were like, okay, go and learn this. And I think this was towards the pandemic. I think 2019.
Oh, okay.
That was when I started with Angular. So I
Oh,
found one thing I think people should know is that
okay.
if you are learning something
Yeah.
and something seems very hard,
Yeah.
try and look for something that may be simpler for you, because
Absolutely.
I found Angular easier to understand.
Yeah.
So I started from Angular 1, Angular 2. I found it easier to understand, and I was able to understand state management through Angular.
It's nice.
So when I went back to React
Yeah.
again for the second time,
Yeah.
I, because of the knowledge I had from Angular,
You
I was able to understand React better.
got it. Yeah. Of course.
So I was able to now move and to work on other projects. So one of the things that is very important in my journey is being able to learn, putting yourself out there to learn,
I mean, everyone
and
talking about this
taking.
right now. uh, How did you know we were going to talk about the training opportunities available on the job? You could just go ahead and talk about that whilst you're on this.
Yeah, yeah. So like another thing that was very good in my office was that, because a lot of new technologies were coming out and competing,
Yeah.
then Angular versus React versus Next, which one is better, which one is this, which one is that. Luckily for us, I work in a progressive environment. So
Yeah.
we had a company Udemy account. So if there's any course that you want to study, you
Yeah.
can tell them, they'll buy the course, and then you can take it through our company Udemy account.
That's really great.
So it
Okay.
actually helped. It
Yeah.
actually really helped, because I mean, a lot of people that came in, we came in as learners. It's not like
Yeah.
we went to a fancy boot camp anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of people have it easier these days.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, because when you come from a structured environment, people have done the hard work for you. They've filtered everything,
Absolutely.
and they're telling you what you need to know now. It's
Yeah.
different from when you had to figure things out by
Yeah.
yourself and figure out best practices, and a lot of work that some of us had to do.
Absolutely.
So I think it's very important that if there's learning opportunities wherever you are, take it.
Absolutely.
Take it. And okay, when my company started going into Web3 products, um, I had to learn a bit about. I didn't even know anything about blockchain. So I had to
Yeah.
learn
Okay.
about blockchain, about fintech, and
Yeah.
what's all these things about. And I learned a bit of it, even though I don't currently do a lot of blockchain. but I took the opportunity to learn it so that
Okay.
if anything comes up and I have to do something in blockchain, I've learned it before. So revising it may not be so new or so hard like
Yeah.
when you've not learned it before. So I
Yeah.
think it's very important that if your company is doing something, try and be involved. It will help you grow
Yeah.
as a person in general.
Yeah.
Because when you go out there, people are going to say, "What can you do? What do you know?"
Yeah.
And if you stick to the only things that you do, you see that you haven't really grown
Yeah.
in the past few years. You're just doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's very important.
That's really, really cool. I mean, I do usually say I made a post on my LinkedIn account. And by the way, if you want to check out Amy's LinkedIn or my LinkedIn, go to the description below. You're gonna find it. All right, so let's talk about this. I was gonna say something that I made a post on LinkedIn, and I did say anything worth doing is worth. What would you say, Amy? All right, let me put this to you. Anything worth. I know the usual saying. Anything worth doing is worth completed.
It's worth doing well.
That's beautiful. I mean, that's great,
It's
right?
worth doing well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what people say. That's what everyone says. I say that as well. But again, we got everything worth doing is worth training for. So, I mean, that totally changes everything, right? So,
I agree.
yeah, I mean, if you want to do something well, especially I talk to team leads, I'm a team lead myself, and I say, hey, if you want your team to do exceptional well, you got to train them, right? And put
Yeah.
structures in place to get them to be at the level you envision for them to be at, and then you can
Yeah.
demand a certain level of excellence,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that's really important. So let's talk about how to stand out with so many candidates. Have you got any tips for us?
Mm. Okay, like I said earlier,
Yeah.
um, the I didn't really have so much barrier when I was breaking into tech because I was lucky enough to start when it wasn't so hard. But right now, one of the things I do regret not doing and not doing a lot of is putting myself out there. Now, when I was still a lot younger in my career, I would I used to go for tech events, GDG events. I had opportunities of leadership in those events and those things I was doing, but I didn't take them because I felt like it would affect my work negatively. Also because we're a startup and there's always something that we're doing. Like we're not such a big company and we have so many products, right? So there's always work to do. So I didn't take opportunity of those opportunities around me. Now it's very important to put yourself out there. A lot of people that are really popular and doing very well in tech, they'll tell you that it's as a result of community and it's as a result of putting themselves out there. And for people like me who are very like worried about how people perceive them, or they are very socially conscious, you know, and would not really like to post about what they are doing on social media, especially like your LinkedIn, your Twitter. Tech Twitter has helped a lot of people. It's very important at any stage of your career, especially when you are starting out. You know, back in 2018, I did HNG
Oh, okay.
internship. Yes, and I think I dropped out. I was in the semi-finalist, but I had like a lot of work holding me because it's a very fast-paced environment. So I couldn't keep up. But one of the things that they usually advise was when you work on something, post it on your Twitter.
Absolutely.
And for people that did that, I can see now how it has really helped them. And then when you're saying something, you have a track record, people can go back and see this is where this person started from. So it's very important. Like, even if you feel like, okay, people may say, ah, this thing is nonsense, or you definitely see people who encourage you. You definitely see people who give you advice. If you're lucky, you may even see people that want to mentor you. So what I'm going to say is that putting yourself out there is very important, and it helps you stand out, because there are a lot of people right now. Like, there are so many boot camps. A lot of these boot camps were not there when I started out. There are so many boot camps. A lot of people are have lost their jobs. In the last 2 years, there's been a lot of firing. So you're competing with people from these other companies, people that have worked on amazing products that you may even know
Absolutely.
about,
Yeah.
that have lost their jobs, and nobody knows you. It's going to be but when you put yourself out there, and this doesn't even apply just to tech or programming alone. I've seen that it cuts across a lot of careers, maybe all careers. When you are able to put yourself out there, even your wins, even your losses, when it takes an amount of bravery to do that. But if you are brave enough to do that and be consistent and to build in public, build your personal profile in public, build your career in public, show your strength, let people see the journey, usually you will be rewarded in the end. It will help you. Someone can just see something that you've worked on and reach out to you like,
Absolutely. Yeah.
I like this thing that you did. Can you work
Hmm.
on my project?
Yeah.
I think one of the first gigs I ever got was
Okay.
from a GDG event.
All right.
And it was a simple project, and I
Okay.
wrote it with pure JavaScript. That was when I started to write JavaScript.
Absolutely
And I
nice.
just told this person, I think probably I talked about something at the event or so, and then I was having a conversation with somebody, and he was like, ah, give me your number. There's someone that wants to build something, you know. And that was how I got my first gig. I think that gig was even more than my salary. I was so happy.
Of course, yeah.
I was so happy. And this is like a long time ago.
Yeah.
So putting yourself out there is like one thing I would recommend anybody starting out. It will help you stand out.
All right. That's really
And
good.
build projects,
Of
build
course, yeah.
personal projects.
Absolutely.
Especially when you start working for a company. It can
Yeah.
be very hard. It's very easy to sacrifice your personal career for your company growth.
That's right. That's right.
Especially when you want to be the best, you want to do very good work. It's very easy to sacrifice your personal project and your personal career for your company's work. But to stand out, you need to have your personal projects. It can be anything. Just try and make it good. Make it look good. It can you may not even have users. You don't need to have users, but just build it. Try and have a portfolio of personal projects. I'm not saying calculator app. If not, we're
No.
past that stage.
Yeah, of
Maybe in
course.
2017, 2018, calculator app could fly.
Yeah. Not now.
It's not
Not
now.
now.
Now that ChatGPT can build a calculator
Of
app
course,
for
why
you.
not?
So another thing I'm going to say is learn how to leverage on using AI,
Of course, I was going to talk about
because
that. So, talk about how
okay,
AI has
let me just
affected
wait till
your
we get to
current job
most of
role.
that.
I mean, when people hear AI, they often think about negative things, AI taking jobs and stuff like that. But I do want you to talk about in general, how has it affected your current job role? Job role.
I think AI has. I'm just angry with myself that I didn't jump in when everybody was jumping in, because I was like, I'm not really like a technology freak. I'm not going to even lie, you know. But I kept hearing about the positives of using AI, and I'm so happy I joined the bandwagon. So, using AI really helps you to become a better developer, especially if you're a developer. You can use AI to refactor your code. You can use AI if there's AI helps you to be faster. If you have like something and it's taking you so much time, I believe that if you know what you are doing and you know how to ask the right questions, AI will help you get to the answer faster than cracking your brain, or it will point you in the right direction. Sometimes it may not give you the answer that you're looking for, but if you ask the right questions, it can point you to figuring out exactly what you need to move forward. And that is one of the things that I really liked about AI, especially ChatGPT. And since I've started using it, I think it has just helped me to be faster in my work, because when you have a stumbling block, it can help you to move
Absolutely,
faster.
of course.
So that's how I think AI can help you as a
Yeah,
developer.
yeah.
And right now,
Mm-hmm.
you know, in the tech industry,
Yeah.
there's always something that is the craze or the rave,
Oh yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and it can help you advance faster if you are inclined towards that thing that is in vogue. When you have something like that on your portfolio,
Yeah.
it helps, especially when you are new. And you know, okay, so there are some people that they are needed for things like, especially when they have like years of experience. So when people are trying to hire you, they'll be trying to hire you because they need someone who understands structure, architecture, and bringing things down to first principles. And they'll be looking for someone that has years of experience. Now there are some companies that are newer, they may not be looking for that. They may just be trying to jump on the trend. And you see that if you check, there are a lot of AI companies on Y Combinator right now. There are a lot of new AI projects coming out. And those projects, it will be easier to um, get a job with them if you know how to use AI. It's just like when blockchain came out. It's
Absolutely.
not
Yeah.
like when it came out, it has been out, but
Yeah.
when it became mainstream,
Yeah.
a lot of people got hired
Yeah. Of
because
course.
they knew and they understood blockchain and writing solidity.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important. I have a personal project that is actually AI based. It wasn't AI based
Okay.
when we started building it, but because of the advantages that AI give you, it's an edutech product, and we decided to integrate AI inside. And I think it has really helped us pitching this product to people because of the fact that it has AI, the AI advantage. Because when we're not building as AI core. We're just leveraging the opportunities that AI gives people and our potential users, and it just makes things easier. It just makes things easier. So I think it's good to, if you can, because a lot of products are, especially when you're starting out, I think it's good to join the bandwagon. I'm not even going to lie to you. It is
Absolutely.
good. It will help you to move faster.
Absolutely. Big
It
time.
will
It's
help you to move
faster.
faster.
Faster, of course.
Yeah.
All right. I love it. Thank you. Let's talk about your biggest challenges in your tech role. I mean, I know lots of things probably right now are coming to your mind, but you work with different departments, QA, product designers, etc., this and that. And as much as you might have other sides to it, but tell us about your challenges so far in tech role.
Mm, I think my challenges so far, um, one of the challenges I have is the fact that the environment I work is very fast paced. I will not lie. So there's always a lot to do.
Oh yeah, I get it.
And I think if you're working for a startup, you probably understand what I
I
mean.
big time. Yeah.
Because it's fast paced, there is a lot to do and there is no time.
Uh
Yes. So I think that's one of the challenges I have. But then you have to rise to the occasion because it's your work, you know. So besides that, I think I still struggle with something that wasn't so important before and is important, which is personal branding and putting yourself out there. So I actually tried to do that. Um, so I also have a tech podcast. It's called After Scrum with Ada and Ami, and we started it in 2022, I guess.
Oh yeah, just I
Where
think I kind of like checked you
we,
guys out, and I saw something
yeah,
like that. Yeah, awesome.
yeah, where we interview other people to talk about their challenges and all
Yeah,
that. So
yeah,
to me, it was a way of putting yourself out there. You know, that's what it was to me. But I think it's still important to do more. You know, especially when you want to go faster and be known as a thought leader and someone that knows what they're doing in their career. You know, you need to take personal branding more seriously. You know, so I think it's one of the things I struggle with.
mhm.
But another thing, and
Okay,
I know that I mentioned it before because
all
it's
right.
something I struggle with, was finding time to build my personal projects.
Oh yeah,
Even finding time for my podcast was hard
oh yeah,
because we had a weekly recording.
yeah,
So it was a sacrifice to have that every week. But
yeah,
when you are able to build your own personal career, it's going to be profitable to you.
yeah.
Because at the end of the day, s- a lot of companies fold up these days,
That's right.
right?
Yeah,
And I'm not saying that because they are not good companies, it's because of the nature of the economy. And in the tech space, in the last 2 years, a lot of companies have closed down. But one of the things that will always put you in the minds of people is your personal brand, not necessarily where you worked. I mean, if your whole identity is where you work, I mean, if you are working for a company with a very big name like Google, it's kind of an identity on its own. It helps you move forward, it helps you grow, it helps you advance. But if you are not there, you need to work on your personal branding. So, and make yourself be known as a thought leader. So, it's one
yeah.
of the things I really struggle with. You know,
Okay,
I know that I have opportunities for that, but
yeah.
it's just something I struggle with.
I get it. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
very
in my personal
insightful.
career.
Okay. Well, Amy, let's talk about. I know everyone probably, what I say, probably everyone's been waiting for this question. What
Okay.
advice would you give to someone just starting in your tech field? A very brief
Okay.
one, because I mean, you've said lots of things. We've
Yeah.
all learned a lot from what you've said so far, right? But,
So I usually tell people newbies that this is the best time because they have a lot of resources. Now, speaking of resources, I I know a lot of people say that there you can learn anything on YouTube, but from my experience, if you can use a structured learning process, you can get a course on Udemy that is structured. You check their reviews. It will save you more time, and you probably move faster than trying to figure things out on YouTube. If you can go for a reputable internship program or
okay.
learning program,
Yeah.
go for it. Now,
Yeah.
these people that are teaching you, they've made these mistakes that a lot of us have made, and they have organized this program so that you don't make that mistake
Yeah.
and so that you move faster. That's an advice that I give anybody that is asking me for advice in tech. Go for a structured learning program. If you're just starting out,
Yeah.
go and learn from people that know what they're. I'm not saying some people on YouTube don't know what they are doing,
Yeah.
but a Udemy course, a course that you know that people are paying for, they are
Yeah.
going to structure it in a way they are giving you the best value
Yeah.
because they have an international audience.
Yeah. of course.
That's what I would advise you to go for. But if you cannot, you can start with YouTube. If you don't have the resources, you
Yeah.
can start with YouTube,
Okay.
you know. But if you can, I recommend you get a course or you go for an internship. And there are several good ones. There is old school, and there are several internships.
Yeah.
I think you should go for it.
Yeah, that's really great advice. I love it. That's strategic. And I mean, that's gonna do a lot of good, take paid courses because they're more structured, and
Yeah,
organized, like it's straight to the point. And most of them are organized in a way that, for instance, YouTube videos, I do know that. For instance, today you could teach about Flexbox, and tomorrow you could teach about something else. Probably
yeah,
it's not really in a sequential manner, right? You need that
yes,
structured, program with modules,
mhm,
outlined with different layouts as they should be and stuff like that.
yeah,
All right,
yeah.
so let's talk about now. I mean, I was going to ask you if you could share a significant project or accomplishment in your career, but you already did. Probably if you want to say more things to that, that's all right. But let's talk about how do you stay updated with the latest trends and technologies in your field?
Twitter. Twitter. I get most of my news from Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
I may not be active and post, but because I follow a lot of tech people on Twitter. I think if you're in tech, you should follow like a number of people that give credible news on Twitter, because a lot of times they're active. So that's where I find most of my news. Then I because of that, I think because that these are phone companies, they're always reading what you like. So yes, they do.
Yeah.
So I do get notifications
Oh, yeah.
on
All right.
Google about
Okay.
things that some things may be related to some things I've already seen on Twitter. Things that you like. So I get notifications on Google as well, but mostly on Twitter. Yeah.
All right. Okay, that's pretty much about it. But let's talk about if you've got any final words, because I mean we've covered a lot of things today, and I'm really excited that you actually had to come on here as a guest, and there's been a lot. I mean, people, I'm definitely sure that the audience got so much value from this. So I believe you should have some last words before we call it out for today.
Okay. So what I'm going to say is that tech is not a get rich quick industry, because a lot of people flaunt tech like that. They are going to have to sacrifice a lot.
Absolutely. Yeah.
If some people say that there's this common saying that in tech is like blood money, but it's your blood. You're going to work hard, and like right now, yeah, you need to work even harder than it was a few years ago. So tech is an industry that if you know you want to be in tech, be ready to put in the work. And it's only when you put in that work and you know what you're doing that you reap the benefits. So that's something I just want to say. And don't forget to, always find a balance. Especially now that a lot of people work remotely. I work remotely. I've been working remotely for a few years. It's very easy to cross over personal time with work time. But I find that it's always very important to find a balance for your mental health and to avoid burnout. So
Yeah.
I just want you to know that you need to work hard
Yeah.
and find that balance.
All right, that's pretty much about it. Amy, thank you so much for joining us today. I totally appreciate it. I mean, some other time we could have you on here again and have some topics to talk about. It's been an
Okay.
exciting one indeed. Um, yeah, thank you so much, Amy. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
All right, that be
All right,
all.
bye guys.
Yeah, do you want to tell them to
Okay.
subscribe to the channel?
Yes, please subscribe to this channel. I'm very happy that we have like a lot of channels trying to encourage people in tech. I think it's important, especially when you're starting out. You know, so please like and subscribe to this channel.
All right. Thank you so much, Amy. I appreciate that. All right.